When you think of Cleopatra, what comes to mind? Is it the beautiful seductress from the movies? Maybe her dramatic love stories with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony? Or perhaps that iconic image of her draped in gold, bathing in milk, living a life of unimaginable luxury? For centuries, this is the story we've been told. But what if I told you this popular image is a carefully crafted distraction? But what if the history books, the movies, and even our school lessons have conveniently left out the most important part of her story? Because Cleopatra wasn't just the last pharaoh of Egypt. She was one of the most brilliant economic strategists the world has ever seen. While everyone obsesses over her relationships with powerful men, they completely miss the real source of her power, a wealth system so sophisticated it would make modern billionaires jealous. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and reveal the financial empire Cleopatra built. And more importantly, we'll uncover the timeless principles she used, strategies that are still powerful today, but that modern education deliberately keeps from you. By the end of this video, you will understand why the richest 1% still use these ancient strategies to build their fortunes, while the rest of us are taught to simply trade our time for money. This isn't just a history lesson, it's a masterclass in wealth that has been hidden in plain sight. Let's dive in. The first pillar of Cleopatra's financial empire is what I call the monopoly principle. She understood something fundamental about wealth creation that most people today completely miss. Whoever controls the supply controls the price. It's a simple concept with profound implications. Under Cleopatra's rule, Egypt wasn't just another country. It was the breadbasket of the entire Mediterranean world. It produced a massive surplus of grain, the fuel that powered the ancient world. But here's where her genius really shines. She didn't just grow wheat and sell it like a common farmer. No, she implemented what I call the strategic scarcity system. Cleopatra didn't just participate in the market, she became the market. She systematically took control of the entire grain supply chain, from the farmers who planted the seeds to the massive granaries where the harvest was stored, to the fleet of ships that transported the grain across the sea, and finally, to the merchants who sold it in foreign ports. Every single step was under her direct or indirect control. This wasn't just a business, it was a monopoly on survival itself. Think about the power this gave her when Rome, the superpower of the day, faced a famine and needed grain to feed its people and prevent riots. They didn't have a list of suppliers to choose from. There was only one door to knock on Cleopatra's, and because she controlled the entire supply, she could negotiate from a position of absolute power. She wasn't just haggling over the price of wheat. She was dictating terms that included political alliances, military support for her throne, and long-term economic partnerships that enriched Egypt for generations. She turned a simple commodity into a geopolitical weapon and a limitless source of funding. Now, you might be thinking, that's great for a pharaoh, but I can't control the world's grain supply. And you're right, but you're missing the point. The principle isn't about grain, it's about control. The principle remains exactly the same today. Let's look at modern billionaires. Jeff Bezos didn't invent every product sold on Amazon. Instead, he built the platform, the digital marketplace that everyone else needs to use to sell their products. He controls the gateway. Mark Zuckerberg doesn't create the videos and photos you see on Instagram. He owns the network where billions of people share their content. He controls the flow of information. Elon Musk isn't just building rockets. He's deploying a network of satellites to control global internet access. The pattern is clear. The wealthiest people in the world don't compete on price in a crowded market. They don't try to bake a better cake than everyone else. Instead, they build the oven that everyone has to use. They position themselves to control a critical resource, a platform, or a gateway that others must go through. Cleopatra didn't try to grow more wheat than everyone else. She made sure all the wheat had to pass through her system. This brings us to a crucial and somewhat uncomfortable truth about our modern education system. Think about what you were taught in school. Were you taught how to build systems, how to create a monopoly? Or were you taught how to be a good employee? How to write a resume, compete for a job, and trade your hours for a wage? The system is designed to create compliant workers who participate in systems, not disruptive innovators who build them. They want you competing with millions of others for jobs, not creating your own market where there is no competition. Cleopatra understood the secret 2,000 years ago. True. Lasting wealth comes from the ownership of systems, not from participation in them. The person who owns the bridge will always be richer than the people who pay the toll to cross it. The first step to breaking out of the time for money trap is to stop thinking like a participant and start thinking like a system builder. Identify a choke point, a need, a gateway in your own field or community, and ask yourself, how can I become the one who controls it? This is the monopoly principle, and it's the foundation upon which all great fortunes, ancient and modern, are built. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next part of this series, where we'll uncover another of Cleopatra's forgotten wealth strategies. Now we get to something truly extraordinary that historians barely discuss. Cleopatra's control of information and knowledge. The Library of Alexandria wasn't just a collection of books. Under Cleopatra's rule, it was the intellectual capital of the entire known world. Every single ship that entered Alexandria's port was searched. If they found any books or scrolls, they were taken copied by professional scribes, and the copies were returned to the owners while the originals stayed in the library. Think about what this means from a wealth perspective. Cleopatra had access to every piece of knowledge, every trade secret, every military strategy, every agricultural technique, and every medical advancement that existed in the Mediterranean world. She knew Roman military tactics. She understood Persian trade routes. She had access to Greek philosophy and mathematics. She knew the agricultural secrets of distant lands. This information asymmetry was worth more than gold. When negotiating with foreign powers, she always knew more than they did. When planning economic strategies, she had information they couldn't access. When developing new industries, she could combine knowledge from multiple civilizations that had never been integrated before. Cleopatra spoke 9 languages fluently. This wasn't just impressive, it was strategic. She could negotiate directly without translators who might have their own agendas. She could read documents in their original language and catch nuances that others would miss. She could understand the cultural psychology of every kingdom she dealt with. But here's the modern application that's absolutely critical. In today's world, information is still the ultimate wealth multiplier. Are you actively building your own personal library of Alexandria, or are you passively consuming whatever algorithm feeds you? But these were unromantic fairy tales. They were calculated strategic partnerships that secured Egypt's sovereignty and her own wealth for decades. Think about it. Egypt was a rich but militarily vulnerable kingdom, constantly under threat from the expanding Roman Republic. Cleopatra, as a young ruler, couldn't defend it alone. She needed an ally, but not just any ally, needed the most powerful man in the world. So, what did she do? She famously had herself smuggled to him, wrapped in a carpet. It bypassed his advisors and rivals, allowing her to make her case directly to him. This alliance with Caesar gave her Roman legions to secure her throne and protect Egypt from annexation. It wasn't about love, it was about survival and geopolitical leverage. The birth of their son, Caesarion, was not just a personal matter, it was a strategic move to create a potential heir to both Egypt and Rome, a dynasty that would unite the East and West. After Caesar's assassination, Rome fell into civil war. Cleopatra didn't panic. She assessed the new power players and strategically aligned herself with Mark Antony, the new strongman of the East. This partnership wasn't just political, it was economic. Antony controlled the Roman legions in the east, and Cleopatra controlled the grain and gold that paid for them. Together, they formed a powerhouse that challenged Octavian, the future Emperor Augustus, for control of the Roman world. She leveraged personal connections at the highest level to achieve national security and economic stability. Now we get to perhaps the most important and least understood aspect of Cleopatra's wealth system, her mastery of perception and personal branding. She didn't just rule as a queen. She presented herself as a living goddess, the reincarnation of Isis. This wasn't ego, it was brilliant marketing. To the Egyptian people, Isis was the mother of all, the goddess of magic, wisdom, and protection. By embodying Isis, Cleopatra cemented her legitimacy and inspired unwavering loyalty from her subjects. When she appeared in public, she dressed as Isis. Her coinage depicted her as Isis. It meant her people would work harder, pay their taxes more willingly, and fight more fiercely for her. But she didn't stop there. For the Greeks in her kingdom, she was the new Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty. For the Romans, she presented herself as a sophisticated, intelligent, and powerful ruler, an equal to their greatest leaders. She understood her audience and tailored her brand to each one. Her famous arrival at Tarsus to meet Mark Antony is a masterclass in this. The entire city, including Antony, was left speechless. She was manufacturing an image of immense wealth, power, and divine favor. This perception became her reality. People believed she was powerful, so she became powerful. They believed she was wealthy, so they gave her their wealth. She controlled the narrative, and in doing so, she controlled her destiny. So let us recap the 5 core principles of Cleopatra's wealth system that modern education never teaches you. Second, strategic monopolies. She controlled essential industries and used that leverage to dictate terms. Fourth, relationship capital. She built alliances with the most powerful people in the world as a form of geopolitical and economic insurance. And fifth, perception management. She masterfully crafted her personal brand to project an image of divine authority and immense power, which then became a self-fulfilling prophecy. Look at the biggest tech companies. They control assets like data centers, monopolize platforms like search or social media, hoard data, build powerful political networks, and spend billions on public relations. They are playing Cleopatra's game. The question is, are you? Are you building assets, creating your own small monopolies, becoming a knowledge expert, nurturing strategic relationships, and consciously managing how you are perceived? The story of Cleopatra is not a tragedy about a fallen queen, but it's a playbook for strategic brilliance, a lesson in how to build and defend wealth against overwhelming odds. The system she created was so powerful that it took the entire might of the Roman Empire to bring it down. And even in defeat, her legend endured, a testament to the power of her brand. The history books want you to remember her for her romances. I want you to remember her for her empire of the mind. But thank you for watching. If this changed your perspective, hit that subscribe button and share it with someone who needs to see it. Until then, think like Cleopatra, not like a peasant.